Hello and welcome to another episode of Double J's List. If you get a chance, please subscribe. It would help me and it would help you see more content. If you hit the like button, I'd appreciate that too. Today I am reviewing a Volvo XC60. This is a 2023 model, so this is the upcoming model year. This is as new as it gets, and they've made some changes for this year. Number one being that it is a mild hybrid drivetrain, and I'll get into that in the in-car portion. But first we're going to talk about what this one is exactly. There are three trim levels this year. There's the Core, Plus, and Ultimate. This is the mid-range one, this is the Plus, and this has a few options on it. I'll go over it as we go around. So this one has a lot of really neat features on the outside. So some of it is exclusive to the Plus trim level, some of it isn't. This also, you get a choice when you're building one now to go with a bright package or chrome package where it has a lot of chrome work, or you get this black package where everything is kind of blacked out. I think the blacked out looks really, really nice on this car. As you can see, I'll walk around the outside. This one is optioned with the optional 20-inch wheels, which I think look really good too. I'm normally not a fan of bigger wheels, but I looked at the 19-inch, which is what comes on this. I think this is a nicer looking wheel. This is the B5 drivetrain, as you can see by the badge indicated right here, and this is also an all-wheel drive model. What B5 means, it's the entry-level drivetrain. It's 247 horsepower. It's a mild hybrid. It's the turbocharged 2-liter, and it has a small hybrid drive. I'll get into what that means when I get behind the wheel. First, I'm going to talk about some of the exterior items with the car. This being the Core trim level gets you a few options. It gets you leather interior, it gets you the 360 camera, and it also gets adaptive cruise, wood dashboard instead of like a faux aluminum, or maybe it is real aluminum, I don't know. All right, and altogether this one, I estimated on the configurator, there's no window sticker in the car, so I couldn't tell you, but this one should cost about $55,000. Now with that being said, here's what you get. You get a lot of stuff. First of all, these headlights are some of the most incredible headlights I've ever used. They are an LED, and they do directional changing at when it's in low beam. So when you're going around corners, the headlights kind of turn to the direction that you're turning the steering wheel. These fog lights also work as cornering lamps. So if you don't have the fog lights in the on position, you turn on the turn signal at night, it lights up the fog light that is the direction that you're going. So, or you turn the wheel a little bit in that direction. It will, let's say you're turning left, this left fog light down here will turn on, and you can see that it actually does the whole corner of the car, actually puts light around here so you can see any obstacles that you could encounter along the way. The styling I think is very subdued but nice. I like it a lot. This car's got a power lift gate in the back. It's operated by a switch underneath where it says Volvo here. Optional, I believe, is one that will come on when you kick underneath. This one, as you can see, doesn't have, oh, it does. That was the first time I've been able to get it to work. But yeah, I guess it does have that feature. As you can see, the hatch is actually pretty spacious. This one also has the package of protection items with rubber floor mats and things like that. And then to close it, there's a button here. This closes it, this closes and locks the doors in one press of a button. That's pretty convenient. First off, I want to talk about how nice these taillights look. They kind of wrap all the way around in the body and to the hatch. It's a pretty cool look. And I'm assuming the daytime running lights will be on in the front, which they are, known as the Thor's hammer. Very cool looking running lights. All right, moving on into the interior. This, again, is that mid-level trim package. This one has a cold weather package, which includes a heated steering wheel, which is very nice. This one has the optional Harman Kardon stereo, as noted on the speaker grill here. So, interesting thing, we'll get right into the infotainment because that's what people seem to care about these days. This doesn't have wireless CarPlay. It does have a plug-in CarPlay, and from what I'm reading online, with a software update, which apparently is free at the dealership, it can have wireless CarPlay. I'm not sure why they didn't put it in to begin with. If it was just a software thing, I don't know. Maybe it's licensing. No idea. This is the first car that I've encountered. So that's the start button right there. That fires it up. It's dinging at me because I don't have my seatbelt on. I'm not going to drive it right now. So this infotainment uses a Google interface. So if you're familiar with Google phones or Android phones or whatever they are, apparently this is pretty familiar. It has hard buttons for very basic climate control. If you need to hit a quick defrost in the front, that's pretty much all you can do. The rest is all through the screen here. You can adjust the temperature by pressing the temperature there, and then you can do it side by side. All the other controls are within here, and then it goes away. If you want heated seats, you press that button, and it gives you heated seat and steering wheel for the driver's side. Then it's just a heated seat on that side. So that's pretty nice, but I still prefer hard buttons myself. This, I believe, has the some sort of air filtration system, which is supposed to. It was an option. That's what this clean zone thing does, I guess. I don't know much about that, I'm going to be honest. So you can either hit home this way. That also is a home button too, and toggles between this and that. So I'm not really good at. There a lot of people complain about this interface. I'm not really good with it, but it is what it is. It has Google Maps built in because this is a Google interface, and Volvo touts that pretty heavily on their website. It does shoot over to the gauge cluster here, and that's a Google Maps screen right there. Pretty cool, actually. It's a pretty clear instrument cluster. I haven't found too much of what you can adjust on it. It's not really configurable as far as I can tell. These buttons don't do a whole heck of a lot. This button, you can bring up some extra screens about trip computer type stuff. And that's it, it's reset. And then this button right here seems to toggle the map on and off. That's about it. So there might be more to it. I didn't really have a chance to figure it out, but that's all I was able to find. Every single XC60 has a panoramic sunroof as standard. It has this really cool switch here. You just swipe your finger, and that makes the shade open up. Pretty nice stuff. And I believe touching that opens it up, but it's raining out, so we're going to go ahead and close it. And other things that are notable, this is known as the driftwood interior. There is real wood all the way around the dash. That's all a very light colored open pore wood. And then it continues down here into the center console. This opens up to be a little coin tray. It's very nice. All of this feels extraordinarily high quality. This slides open here to reveal more storage and cup holders. Very nice. This opens here to reveal some more storage. Piano black, which gets dirty really easily. And then we'll discuss the Apple CarPlay. Plug it in. So this is the first time I've used Apple CarPlay on something with a vertical orientation. Every other one I've used has been a horizontal orientation, and these basic controls to go back are on the side here. On a vertical orientation like this, they're down here. A little bit different, but it still works just the same. I can go open up the podcasts, they're all there. It's all within easy reach of the driver's seat. Nothing else really to talk about there. Another thing that's really cool, this is the shifter. Everyone's doing their own kind of electronic shifter. This one is kind of neat because I found that my hand just falls on it. These two fingers go in here, and it feels extraordinarily natural and ergonomic. I feel like they put a lot of thought into this, and it's a very pretty piece, just like everything in this interior. Everything feels way, way, way more premium than just about anything else I've sat in this price class. This feels nicer than a lot of BMWs and Mercedes I've sat in, and Lexus. They really spent a lot of time and development and money on making this car feel extraordinarily nice. The Harman Kardon sound system sounds pretty darn good. There's another Bowers & Wilkins that's above this one you can pay even more for, and I think it's almost twice the power. So you get your choice on that. Like even like these vents, like this click, it feels like it's like a really high-end watch. It's really crazy. Anyway, something I don't like how the steering wheel is white on the inside. I think this is a touch point that it's going to get dirty. There's no way that that's not going to get dirty in normal use. I don't think that white on a steering wheel, white leather especially, is a good idea at all. It's pretty, but yeah. Weird thing that we discovered, these windows go down slow and you press it harder and it goes down faster. They're 2-speed windows. Why? I have no idea. You would want 2 different speeds for your windows. Well, Volvo did it for us. So, pretty neat stuff. Let's move on to the back seat. So as you can see, this one has the optional built-in booster seat. I've got it open on that side. This side I don't. I used it for my daughter. She loved it. She thought it was the greatest thing ever. It's got 2 different settings. Right here, you pull this handle up. It makes it pop up. And there's one setting there. There's a button just above there. You press that and it releases. You give it another tug and it clicks up into a second. You gotta use 2 hands. And it goes up to a second higher level for a smaller child. So that's pretty neat. I really like that feature too. I wish more cars offered this. This is really, really cool. Here are the ratings on it. On that first setting, they're saying that it's good for a child that's between 45 and 55 inches. And the second set, and 50 to 80 pounds. Second setting, where it's a little higher, is good for a child that's between 37 and 47 inches and 33 to 55 pounds. To get this thing back in, you just pull on that, what's kind of like a door handle, and just give it a push down, and you're back to a normal seat. All right, let's get inside and take it for a drive. Okay, driving the 2023 Volvo XC60 with the B5 drivetrain. I'm going to get right into it and talk about what Volvo refers to as its mild hybrid drivetrain. So this is only a 48 volt drivetrain as far as the electric part is concerned. To put that in perspective, my Chevy Bolt is a 400 volt drivetrain, and most of these modern newer EVs are actually 800 volts. And the advantage of that is they are able to charge faster and put out power quicker. Charging faster is a really big factor in that because we're trying to get these cars to charge as quickly as possible. This only being 48 volts, this is really just a little helper for the gasoline turbocharged 2-liter engine. Now, if you go to this is only 247 horsepower, only, I shouldn't really say that. You move up to almost 300 horsepower when you go to the B6, and that adds a supercharger in addition to the turbocharger for that engine. And then there's the T8, which is actually a plug-in hybrid version of this. And that makes over 400 horsepower. That one's, I think, on 450. It's crazy. So this being 247 horsepower, I can actually tell you that this is really ample. The mild hybrid drivetrain part, all it does is it helps out. So unlike a Prius or a more dedicated hybrid drivetrain, when you come to a stop, the engine turns off, just like everything that has that feature where the engine turns off when you stop. However, when you take your foot off the brake, the gasoline engine starts right up. Just like a car that doesn't have any kind of hybrid drivetrain that has a self-shutting off for stopping system. So it doesn't have enough power to really get the car moving on its own like a major hybrid drivetrain. So according to their website, it does regenerative braking, and then it basically then gives a little extra power. Now, with that being said, this being the smallest drivetrain or least powerful drivetrain that you can get, it's more than ample. It's compared to, let's say, our Volkswagen Tiguan, which is under 200 horsepower, this is quite quick. It's more than most people will ever need. If you want a little more oomph, it probably would be good to go to that B6, and if you really want a lot of power and all the advantages of a plug-in hybrid, spend the money and get the T8. With that being said, the way that this drives, it's extremely quiet. The engine does make kind of just that kind of 4-cylinder grumble that I'm not a huge fan of. However, when you go full throttle, it probably won't show up well on the microphone for the camera here. It makes actually a really unique kind of whine, I'd call it. It actually made me think of my old Volvo 240, where that made kind of an interesting noise too. It wasn't just like a normal 4-cylinder. It had this interesting kind of growl to it that it's kind of pleasant. So driving around town, it sounds about like a normal 4-cylinder. When you really actually on an open road and you step on it, it makes a little bit better noise. Other than that, the steering is extremely light. I went in the infotainment system and found the settings to change how light it is. This is its firmest setting, and it's still extremely light. It doesn't deliver a lot of feel like most cars with electric power steering, but I wouldn't expect that in this class of car anyway. This is just, I want the steering to be easy, and it does its job. That's exactly what this does. Same goes for the ride. It's extremely nice. The handling, it's basically your very stereotypical 5-seat crossover. It's not like a Mazda CX-5 where you're surprised with how good it handles. It just rides extremely nice, goes around corners like a normal car. Now, even with the hybrid drivetrain, since this is just a mild hybrid that helps it out, it still has an 8-speed automatic transmission. It seems to be in the right gear at all times. It's very eager to downshift, I've actually found, which is pleasant. It still has a bit of a delay, and quite frankly, I'm spoiled by my Bolt EV, because it's just, if you're just cruising around slowly and you press the throttle down to accelerate quickly, I would say that it takes about a second for it to downshift and then actually get going. Whereas, an EV, it's instant. It's about normal for a car with an automatic transmission. It's got a manual mode. I'm actually going to try it for the first time right now. I haven't even had an opportunity. And it works pretty much like every one of these. I guess it's a little quicker to respond than some. Let's see, I'm coming to a red light now. I'm going to try to get into the second. There it goes. Okay. Not something that I would use very often, but it's there. So let's go back in. I'm going to accelerate. And it's side to side too, which I don't like. My personal favorite for using a shifter for a manual mode in an automatic is down for upshift and up for downshift. That just feels the most natural to me. The Volkswagen is the opposite of that, and the side-to-side thing is very confusing, because like, how do I want to accelerate? Okay, yeah. So quite frankly, it's just a car you leave in D and just go. The shifter itself feels very nice, like everything else in this car. Extremely high quality feeling. Other than that, very nice. Oh, one more thing. These seats are absolutely incredibly comfortable. I know that there's a stereotype for Volvos, that they're, the modern ones at least, that the seats are extremely comfortable. This is no exception. These seats feel like you could just jump in and drive across a continent comfortably. Awesome seats. All right, right here I've got a little clearing. I'm going to actually step on it. You can see how it sounds. Hold on. Yeah, it pulls nice. It makes a little nice sound when it upshifts. It's kind of cool. It's not bad. I personally don't think I'd even bother moving up to the B6, because this is more than enough for me, but I'd like to drive the B6 to see what it's like. And I'm sure that T8 plug-in hybrid drivetrain is just a blast. But this is just fine for what it is, for sure. So anyway, in conclusion, extremely nice car, and I think that it has an advantage over some of its competitors, and it doesn't carry the pretension that like a BMW or a Mercedes or even a Lexus for that matter. This is just a Volvo. People don't see someone drive up in a Volvo and go, oh, I wonder what that person does. And man, it's a Volvo. Even though it costs right around the same amount of money as the other ones that I've mentioned, it doesn't carry that with it, yet it actually arguably has a nicer interior and some really nice styling on the outside. I think it's a pretty huge win. But anyway, that's my final take on this. If you get the chance, please subscribe and like it. I would really appreciate it. I'm Double J's List on Instagram. I'm Double J's List on Facebook. See if you can find me. And thank you for watching. All right, now moving on into the interior. And this is where this car shines. Okay. This is... Oh, geez.